Welcome back to the friendly confines of Russell Lee Dietrich Jr. Park. It seems like we've been away forever, and it's time to get a win, and there's no better place to do it. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dave Shannon, Jamestown Jammers. Call it a rough patch, bump in the road, whatever it is you want to call it. Jammers are in that phase right now, going out on the road. A team that had been so good at being a road warrior suddenly lost its footing and have lost 4 in a row on the road. Now, this reminder, there's only 4 road games remaining in the Jammers schedule, so they need to pick things up here at home. They come in tonight with a record of 26-9, trailed by the Geneva Red Wings at 21-15. They have a 5.5 game lead over the Red Wings, and the opponent tonight, the Onondaga Flames, come in with a record of 15-17. They're 9.5 back of the Jamestown Jammers. Jammers had some notoriety, and they still do. I don't want to overplay or underplay what just happened, but the Jammers were ranked 4th in the nation as of last week's SummerCollegiateBaseball.com rankings. This week, after the tough week that we've had, we have dropped to 18th in the country. So a big drop for the Jammers from 4th to 18th. Amsterdam, the Mohawks, are now ranked 4th in the country. And the Jammers, if they want to get back up in there, going to have to put another win streak together. And what better place to start it than right here at Russell Lee Dietrich Jr. Park. Coming up on the pregame show, we'll get to meet Colin Stack, the Jamestown guy, who's had himself a great season so far. We'll talk to Colin Stack. And tonight, Hayden Carter will be our coach as far as the pregame show goes. We'll get started with all of that. Colin Stack is next here on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Penswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Penswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Penswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Penswood.net Classifieds has it. Penswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
We're here with Colin Stack of the Jamestown Jammers, and it's time we sat down and talked to you, Colin. You're from Jamestown at this point in your life. You've been a couple other places too, but now you're from Jamestown, so it's kind of neat, I think, to be playing for the Jammers, huh?
Yeah, I always grew up watching when they were single A for the, what was it, Marlins, I believe?
Yeah, they were Marlins.
Back in the day, Marlins, yeah, Pirates, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always cool as a young kid going to watch those kids. Never really thought I'd be able to play for the Jammers, but it's cool that they turned into a college league, and it's cool to play in front of my home friends and family, so it's been nice.
Yeah. You've had we're getting to you late in the season, and apologies about that. Actually, we'd have been on sooner, but we had a technical failure. But the bottom line is, wanted to catch up with you and talk about the season that you've had so far. It's been really good. One of the things that's impressed me is your ability to hit the ball a long way. And typically, and this is probably a misconception by a lot of people, but they'll attribute body style to whether somebody can hit the ball a long way. And people would look at you and say, nah, but you can. Talk about that, developing that power and the way you're able to generate a big hit like you have.
Well, I mean, I've never really been a huge power hitter throughout my baseball career. Little League, I never had a home run. First home run was, I think, my junior year of high school. I think where it comes from is just my lower body. I just have a way of using all my legs and really torquing my body to get everything in my swing. I try to look for a pitch early in the count for a fastball. I mean, first pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's there, then I'm going to take as hard of a swing I can at it, and hopefully I don't miss. And it just so happens that I've connected on a few of them. It's gone a long way, so yeah, it's been nice.
You've had your share of extra base hits, and another thing that's attributable that is to you is your speed. You have your share of stolen bases. I remember the one game you kind of looked like the the Washington Nationals against the Cubs in that one game earlier this year with Arrieta on the mound, and you were just out there stealing bases like it was no big deal. Has that been something you've always been doing, trying to steal bases, taking advantage of your speed?
Not necessarily. I've always been able to steal bags, but I was never a real aggressive base stealer. So that's something I'm trying to work on this summer, is trying to get some more stolen bases for the spring coming up.
Sure.
So I mean, anything that helps, you know, trying to work on bigger leads, getting a better jump. I mean, if I get thrown out, I get thrown out, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to work on stealing some extra bags, trying to get to second base as much as possible.
Now, you're playing right field for us all the time, and you were at UMBC. Is that your position there as well?
Yep.
UMBC had a good season. Talk about getting through the season and then making it into some regional play headed toward the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, it was very exciting to get started with the team. I mean, I knew we had a really good group of guys. I mean, everybody got along. I mean, the team chemistry was very good. So going into the season, it was very exciting to see what we could do. We knew we had all the talent in the world to win a conference championship. And throughout the season, I mean, we had some ups and downs. We had our midweek games. We kind of, you know, won some, lost some, so that kind of affected our record
stuff. Yeah,
but on the weekends for conference games, we usually took 2 out of 3. So I mean, going into the tournament, we had a lot of confidence knowing that we could beat these teams. And then come conference play, I mean, our pitching was just on point, and we had clutch hitting when we needed it. We had great plays. We had the rundown play, which ended up becoming like famous on like Sports Illustrated and all that crap. So it was very cool. I mean, everything just started to click in the conference tournament, and then we ended up sweeping the conference and going on to the Winston-Salem Regional, and I mean, that was one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah, no doubt. So far this year, the team off to a really good start. Now, as we do the interview, we're in a little bit of a rough spot right now, but I think that happens with every team. Yeah. There's a certain level that you reach and you play at that level, and then every once in a while it's just like that all goes away for a brief period. And I'm thinking brief period because this seems to be a really good team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. You know, I mean, every team goes through a skid, like you said.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have a very good team here, and I mean, that's shown through our record for the first, you know, 30 games. So I mean, it's not something to be worried about, but it is definitely something to take into concern and see if we're able to bounce back. And it'll really be a big test to see if our team is, you know, as strong as we think we are. So
yeah.
I mean, it'll be cool. It'll be interesting to see how we bounce back and see if we can get another win streak going on into the playoffs.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, with you on the team, I feel confident. I've enjoyed watching you play.
I hope I'm not too shaky out there.
All right, Colin Stack, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so who's next?
If Bernick's out.
Penswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Penswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Penswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Penswood.net Classifieds has it. Penswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
Here with the assistant coach to Anthony Barone and also the pitching coach for the Jamestown Jammers, and that's Hayden Carter. We've met him in a little bit of a profile that we've had on YouTube. I was kind of surprised about the number of people that said, gee, I didn't know that about Hayden, or, you know, they've talked to you about it. So it was good to have you on there. It's good to have you back here doing a pregame show with us as well. And I'm sure as we go through this rough patch here, that you're as concerned as Anthony is about, not necessarily about the total fate of the team, but how do you get it turned back around?
I think it's not time for us to press the panic button. Right. We've been playing well pretty much all season up to this point, so it's basically just going back to what we do well, where it's throwing strikes on the mound, it's having quality at bats, innings 1 through 9, and you haven't really seen that over the course of the last 3 to 5 games, so. Just going back to that, it's nothing major that we have to fix, but it's definitely an adjustment we have to make.
Yeah, it was disappointing. We've lost 4 in a row, and this team had been such a good team when it comes to being road warriors throughout the early part of the season. And I don't know, maybe it just catches up with you. We had a series of ones where we go out and come back in the same day, which is all well and good, but when you consider that you don't finish up at a ballpark till about 10:30 at night, and we have about a 3-4 hour trip, depending on where we are, back to Jamestown, it starts to wear. I know it was wearing on me there at a certain point, probably you too.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's tired, but we're not going to make that an excuse for why we've been playing poorly the last couple of days. I mean, if we win those games, we probably feel a lot more energized coming off those road trips, especially those down and backs on the same day. It definitely feels a lot better when you win that game and you come home on a happy bus. So we're not going to give that or make that as an excuse for why we played a little bit poorly the last couple of games. But I mean, that's what everyone's going through as of right now in this course of, or at this point in the summer. I mean, everyone's having to travel a lot. I mean, we might have to be traveling a little more just because of the geographic positioning we have amongst the league. And but I mean, we're going to continue to play hard and control what we can control.
One last thing, we'll talk about the game in Elmira last night that wrapped up the road trip. I was impressed with the fact that Corey Blessing probably didn't have his best start in the world, but he stuck with it, and he got you through 5 innings, and that was what he could do for you last night. Talk about Corey and his outing there.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you put Corey Blessing on the mound, he's going to compete for you. Even when he doesn't have his best stuff, he's going to compete with what he has that day, and that's all you can ask for out of a starting pitcher, and just to keep us in a ball game. And he did that. I mean, if you ask him, he probably wasn't satisfied with that start, giving up 4 runs. I don't know how many were earned, but if you ask him, he probably wasn't satisfied with the start just because he's used to having a lot more success than that. He's used to throwing a lot more strikes than what he did last night. But at the end of the day, he kept us in the ball game. He left the game with us only down, I believe, 2 runs. We ended up tying the game and taking the lead later. But he did a good job competing with what he had, even though he didn't have his best stuff.
All right, we'll come back and we may talk briefly a little bit more about last night's game, and then we'll concentrate on tonight's game against Onondaga. We'll do that after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
I don't believe it. My savings are gone.
Okay, think. Where'd you have them last?
I was home, then I spent them on that vacation in this tiny suit of armor. Now they're gone.
Weird.
Weird? Not really. Not saving now means no money later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ideas on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Oh, I broke his little gauntlet.
Oh no.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Back with Hayden Carter getting ready for tonight's game against the Onondaga Flames. Just saw him a couple of nights ago at Onondaga Community College in the Syracuse area, and we dropped that game. Want to cover one last thing about the game last night at Elmira, and that was we had been doing really well even though we were in this rough spot. Our fielding kind of fell apart last night. We had some plays that were tough plays to make, but still plays that you would have preferred to have made in that game, and that led to Elmira being able to do some things.
Yeah, I mean, we've preached it all year long, and whenever you do the boring things where it's just throw the baseball, catch the baseball, just take care of the baseball in general, it'll lead to success. And you saw that last night. We walked, I think, 4 or 5 guys, hit a couple guys, made a couple errors, and that led to a lot of runs. So you got to give credit to Elmira. They swung it when it mattered, and they put up some runs in some big situations. But on our side, we gave away a lot of stuff. And you talk about the freebie war, just giving away too much stuff on the defensive and pitching aspect. It's definitely hard to come back from those type of deficits when you're giving away that much stuff.
Now, we go back to the game against Onondaga the other night, and that was one where we gave up runs early, but we weren't able to do anything immediately after that, try to get back into the game. Connor Ryan was all excited about having a start because that's what he does at school, but in the end, maybe he was a little too excited to be out there on the mound.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was going through Connor Ryan's head, and I'm not going to answer for him. But I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't throw as many strikes as he'd wanted to, and that was basically the underlying theme as to why we lost that game. Just not throwing strikes early and then putting us in too big of a hole that we couldn't come back from later in the game. And you got to give credit to that pitcher. I don't think he walked a guy that whole game, and we walked it more than they did. So that was the recipe as to why we didn't win that game, and that's basically been the recipe as to why we've lost three in a row and 4 of the last 5. So it's just all a matter of just throwing strikes, taking care of the baseball, and putting together quality at bats.
Talk about tonight's starter. Who do we have on the hill tonight?
We got David Liscawa, coming from Niagara County Community College, making I believe it's his 4th or 5th start. He's been pretty much our ace this whole year. He's been pretty consistent, time in, time out. We're looking forward to seeing him up on the mound tonight.
All right, and one last thing that Anthony and I normally discuss, and you won't know the answer to this, but I will say one thing. It's been amazing to me to watch him come up with so many different combinations as far as the lineup goes. I think there's that core group of guys that he'd love to have out there every night, but he realizes that you have to give those guys a break every now and then. And
suggestions when I think it's appropriate, but for the most part, it's mostly Coach Barone that makes the lineup. I'll throw in my 2 cents when I think it's appropriate, but at the end of the day, it's his lineup, and he runs the offensive and the fielding aspect of our club, and I just take care of the pitching.
All right, big game tonight against the Onondaga Flames. Try to get back on the winning track. One last note, collegiate summer baseball. What have you done for me lately as we drop from 4th to 18th? So I think we put some wins together here. We'll be okay again.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go 1-4 in a week. They generally don't reward that type of play, but I mean, it'll be fun to try to climb back up those rankings and get back to where we were the last couple weeks.
All right. Thanks for the time, Hayden. Good luck.
All right, thanks, Dave.
All right, back with the start of the game after this on what? Do you want to say something? No. Anthony Barone comes in late, is trying to horn in on the... You are the head coach. I mean, if you got something, go... No, he's leaving. All right, we'll be back with the start of the game after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hi, this is Curtis Stone. Now, I've cooked a lot of food in my day. Steaks, salads, pasta, seafood, chicken, soup, sandwiches. I mean, you name it, and I've prepared it thousands of times. But even I can't cook enough to feed all of the 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger. That's 1 out of every 5 children. Now, luckily, there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last one of those hungry kids. The only problem is getting it to them. That's where the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks comes in. They gather up surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across the country. We call them food angels, and you can be a food angel too. Come on, earn your wings by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Psst. Yeah, it's me, your heart. Listen to me. We've got to talk. High blood pressure is serious, and yours? Whoa. What happened to us? We used to be so much more active, but lately you've been ignoring me. I know you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away forever, but you're wrong. You can do so much more to control your high blood pressure. Doing the minimum isn't doing enough. I'm under a lot of pressure and can quit whenever I want. Bet you didn't know that. But I like my job. Just treat me better. Check on me. Give me something green to nibble on every once in a while. And maybe we can do some exercise on occasion. Let's get to it. After all, we're in this together.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
My name is Tom Thornton.
And my name is Cindy Thornton. We're retired, and this is how we live united.
We decided to volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
United Way is how we contribute, because we know our time and money are going to the right places.
Judging by the thank yous we get at the clinic, I'd say we're doing the right thing with our retirement, too. We're Tom and Cindy Thornton. We volunteer at our community free health clinic. We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing? Just
Dave 2037?
Who?
Me in the future. Save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so you can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve would just for himself.
Or don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million.
Here's the off right fielder 6.